Welcome to another episode of Entrepreneurs on Fuego. We documented the journey of incredible entrepreneurs. My new best friend, you're a pro. You're a pro. Gina
We'll
Murphy.
see.
Gina Murphy, darling, how are you?
I'm great. Really and truly great.
Look, anybody who has been appointed to U of A's President's Advisory Committee,
I know, these things keep coming and it feels really good.
it's got all my respect.
It's really the advisor and on environmental sustainability.
On environmental sustainability.
It's great.
What do you tell, before, I got to ask this question from the onset, what do you tell to those people that say, you know, that all this talk about environmental, that the planet is warming up and all that, it's not true. It's fake. It's fraud. What do you, when you listen to these things, what do you say to these people?
If I'm being nice,
you don't have to
say it's okay with me if you want to ignore the science. And the thing that I don't think gets emphasized enough is that you cannot ignore the fact that at some point very soon we will have 9 billion people on the planet. So if you think it was the same as it was even 1,000 years ago,
sure,
let alone 500 years ago, it's not. It's still the same Earth, and we are taxing the Earth's resources so much, and plus what we are creating through our pollution and our overconsumption. So even if you don't want to go with the science of it, use your logic brain to say, oh yeah, I bet that we're over-consuming, we're depleting resources, we're creating a lot of really dirty air by, you know, sustaining this population, and it's really unsustainable. So it's like, it's not a political issue, it's an intellectual issue.
In fact, it's probably and arguably one of the biggest threats to us.
It is the biggest threat.
It is the biggest threat, right?
Fernando, it is so clearly the biggest threat.
Did you just call me Fernando?
And I did. I did. That was wrong. Tape that out.
No, I like Fernando. I mean, you can call me Fernando.
It's
you can
like,
call me Francisco.
oh my God, Francisco.
This is the funniest story.
You'll edit that out, right?
No, heck no. You know, here's what happens. I've been called Fernando like all my life.
Where did I get that?
I don't know.
I
People
got
just
so
Francisco,
caught up
Fernando,
in
the
the
climate
threat
change.
of global warming, and I mean, it's how I live my life. I wake up every morning, and this is not an exaggeration. It is the biggest threat, and I think of my grandchildren and their grandchildren. But the thing about that is, some of the things that are going to happen are happening. Animals are disappearing at an alarming rate. The extinction rates in the ocean. Population displacement. Who knew Miami was flooding? Do people not know that Miami floods on a regular basis?
Yep.
So it's it's like, if you want to look for the signs, the evidence is there.
It's there, and I heard,
for
by the way, I heard the most asinine comment or argument against the idea that climate change is happening, and there was this senator saying that, look, the past 2,000 years we've been fine. What is a little CO2 going to do? I heard that argument, and I'm like, this is I mean, like, wait a minute. Didn't you realize that all this climate change
we were all walking then?
Since probably the Industrial Revolution.
Yes, absolutely right. That is exactly right.
So that's how it got us to this point.
So true. He's got to look. NASA has such great work now. So
yes,
they are able to film the greenhouse gases through colors, and when you see it, and it doesn't go up and bounce back, it's going up and staying there. That's the CO2 emissions. And when you start burning holes in the ozone, did anybody get that memo that we all better be really scared, because that's what's will burn up?
It is scary. But let's talk a little bit about, before we talk about your book, your company, Mrs. Green's World. What is, by now you probably realize what my dear friend...
That I called the host by the wrong name, but we're good. I do this on my show too.
Fernando, Francisco, like my uncle would say, just don't call me late for dinner.
Right.
But I'll be here all week.
Good. I apologize.
Oh, no, you don't have to. And so what does Mrs. Green's World do?
What we're really, our big intention is to create a global community of people who care about the planet. Mm-hmm. And we do it in fun, informative, and really intentional ways. It's not just about the fun. When I started it 10 years ago, it was, what if living green could be fun? And it didn't take long for me, not a scientist, to read the research, interview these amazing guests from all over the world on incredible subjects to realize.
And you have, when you say interview, you have, let me interrupt.
A podcast.
You have a podcast.
Yeah, I started out on News Talk, radio, and then I wanted to have a bigger reach, so I built my own studio, and you know how that goes. It's the way of an entrepreneur. So I just started realizing. But you have an incredible reach. You have a great audience. I do, and it's growing. It's great. We're played in other markets and all of that. But it's, somebody said to me the other day, my friend, she said, yeah, you're a 10-year overnight success, and that's the way of the entrepreneur. But I kept showing up. So I just, we have a team of 7 people, and we really do, through our integrated social media platform, through the podcasts, through public speaking, through my representation on boards, it's really to wake people up, not so much about fear and anxiety and angst, but about what they can do to be better stewards of the planet, because we need millions of us pulling in the right direction.
It starts with education.
It starts with education.
And letting people know, all right, this is how we got here. Right. This is the science.
Right.
And this is what's going to happen, or it's already happening.
Right.
Don't ignore it.
Right.
Don't think that this is not real.
It's so true. And even if I had 1 million listeners to the show, which I'm putting that out there in 2017, it wouldn't impact the world enough unless all of those citizens are working to make changes in business, because industry is a big polluter. Big businesses are big polluters, not intentionally. Nobody did that. Like, fossil fuel was the greatest gift to the Industrial Revolution ever. Well, now we have to realize that green technology will be the next best thing for our planet, and really, focus on that. And thank you, fossil fuel. Been there, done that. We have to move on, so we save lives and the planet.
You bet. Now, how do you change people's minds that are so entrenched into this climate change does not exist, or is more of a panic, politically induced type of fear-mongering from a certain group of our population? How do you change
the frustrating part to me is that the majority of people already do believe that it exists, and they are on board. So what the media, the mainstream media, does is pay attention to those rogues, or those people that are, not open to science, which should tell you a lot, especially if you elected them, that they're not scientific, that most people do. So the biggest challenge becomes then, what can I do? How can I make a difference? So that's
how can we make a difference?
How can we make a difference? And that's what I educate people about. Small steps, getting involved, being in action about the climate, being a good steward in everything you do in your home and at work, and being a model for Mother Earth. I mean, it's that simple.
Give me a practical example of what we can do today, say.
Practical example, it's my #1 thing that I say to people: stop using plastic in any way that you can. So we use several million plastic bottles every hour in this United States. We massively produce plastic. 50,000, I think it's 60,000 plastic bags every 5 seconds. The numbers, and I'm probably under-exaggerating, I don't always have them memorized, but reduce your use of plastic is one thing to stop doing, and turning the water off when you brush your teeth. I mean, if 1 million people do it, it starts to make a difference. Our most precious resource, water, we can't live without it. So there are things that you can do in everyday life.
Small little changes.
Small little changes to bring about a big impact. And what happens is, it's like a gateway. You have a new opportunity, and you start thinking about other things you're doing and other habits, so you start moving forward as a better steward for our planet.
Small little practical things. May we talk about
for a quick minute?
For Mother called.
Your mother called.
Your mother called Mother Earth. You'd better call her back. Gina Murphy, darling, aka Mrs. Green.
Yeah.
And what else you got there?
This is like, I never leave home without it. This is a little bag. That plastic bag use is horrible, and we can all, stop that habit of using plastic bags in the grocery store. Sometimes I'm in Safeway and I go like this. I'm very upset about how many. So people like to collect these little Mrs. Green bags. It weighs a couple of ounces. It's a symbol to me to tell people, just put it in your car. If you forget it, go back out to the car and get it, because every little bit helps. And then people see you. If you go to Trader Joe's, everybody has the reusable bags. If you go to Safeway, not so much. So that's the challenge. How do we impact Safeway to start using reusable bags?
Now that you brought that up, I'm gonna close with this thought a little bit, because one would think, and you said Trader Joe's, right? not the regular minimum wage individual.
Right,
would
right.
Very unlikely go to shop at Trader Joe's.
Right.
Right. So the education starts from all over the place, and should there be some kind of incentives for people, perhaps in the lower echelons of our society, to motivate financially to start doing exactly what you
I
said.
love that example. I love that approach, because in Target, if you bring your own bag, they credit your bill 5 cents. So that's the way to do it.
Boom.
Not
There you
to
go.
ding somebody, which then does hurt impact
Right.
the socioeconomic. It's the social justice piece,
Right.
but to reward them for using the right thing, to me, is better. Rewards always work better for me than punishment.
Correct, because otherwise it sounds like
It's
we're trying to
punitive.
save.
Yeah.
Right, and then we're trying to save the earth. We're trying to do all the right things and everything
Right.
else. But it sounds very elitist at some
Yes,
point. Right?
it does. And we have to remember that, because such a critical part of climate change is the social justice part. And maybe I can come back someday and talk about that.
You can come back anytime, man. I'm telling you
It
right
was
now.
fun.
It took me,
It's really
like
fun.
about 4 months to schedule this lovely lady right over here, and I had to go through like 3 secretaries,
Oh, that's not
5
true.
assistants.
My show producer is my gatekeeper, and boy, she's good. But I mean, it's a day up Phoenix. I'm doing other things while I'm up here.
My name is Fernando Aguirre, and with that,
That's so mean. Oh my God.
we're out.